What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? So listen, as you come in, please go ahead and hit that like button. And we're gonna go ahead and get ready to get started. As you guys know, I'm here to interview Oliver Twixt, one of the stars from the Netflix hit series The Circle. You guys know that Oliver has been a friend to this channel for many, many years, and so we're gonna have him to come up and just give us a breakdown on his experience filming The Circle and all those good things, right? So we're going to go ahead and bring him up. Again, as you come in, just hello, everybody, and come on in. If you have any questions, if we have time, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And if we have time, I'll include it and infuse it in. Hey, Oliver.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir? How are you?
I can't complain.
So this is our third rodeo, right? But every time you come in, you have something new. And so when the promo dropped for The Circle and I saw your face, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, Oliver's gonna be in The Circle. So first tell me how that came about. Like, were you a fan of the show from like season one and you were like, oh man, I would love to do this? But how did that even come out? Like, did you wanted to apply for the show?
So I found out about Circle in the summer of 2021 when I was going through like a down moment in life, and I was looking for some new entertainment. And I had heard so much about The Circle, and there were so many things that just kept popping up in my life that The Circle was involved. People told me, I reminded them of some people on The Circle. I should be on The Circle. They've spoken to people who are on the Circle. I was already social media friends with people who have filmed the show. So after a while, I was like, let me just see what the show is about. And I watched season 1 and 2 back to back, and I was like, oh, this show is freaking amazing. And even then, that wasn't enough for me to actually audition. What ended up happening is one of my friends, DeAndre, in conversation of us talking about like our future goals and aspirations, he encouraged me to audition, and he was like, I think I can help you and kind of guide you through this. And he basically
Okay.
like strong armed me into auditioning for the, you know,
Okay.
I didn't think that they would cast someone like me, but he was like, no, like you're exactly what they're looking for and you need to do it. And so I listened to him and I did it, and of course, you know how the story unfolds from there.
Yes. So tell me, I mean, I don't know how much. I guess now that the show's over, you can kind of spill all of the tea. So I'm new to The Circle. Everybody's been trying to get me to review it for my channel. They want me to watch it, and so I missed the whole first season. I watched like the first couple of episodes of the second season, but of course, when I when I had the personal connection to you, I was like, I'm watching it, and I was glued, and I loved it. I really did. But I did not know that this was filmed in Europe in Great Britain, right?
Manchester, yep.
Manchester. I did not know that. So what was that experience like?
Oh, it was really good. I just posted some photos.
I saw them.
Yeah, time when I was in Manchester. It was really nice being in a whole different continent, let alone another country. The food was so good. I lost a lot of weight just by eating the food there because it was like all locally, naturally
Hmm.
products and whatnot. And of course, I was able to sightsee. You finna go? I was able to sightsee, and I was really like on a nice love you. I was really like on a nice like a mini vacation. It was really like a spiritual alone time for me, and it was really nice. I really enjoyed being in Europe for like a month and a half. I was back in 2021.
Oh my gosh. Because so that was a long time ago, 2021.
I filmed The Circle right before season 5 of Chasing Atlanta started. So that's why in episode 1 of Chasing Atlanta, season 5, you only see me in my own scene. Because I actually got back the week that we started filming officially. And originally we didn't
Okay.
I was gonna be back in time. So like, and Dario didn't write me into the episode. It was always gonna be like my standalone thing. But yeah, so actually, like at the top of season 5 of Chasing Atlanta is when I had already filmed The Circle. I had already done it. And I was
Wow.
just getting back to America, literally, like just
Wow. Because I remember that episode because that's when you were singing, right? Like New Attitude. What when you were singing New Attitude?
Yes, and people were there were some people in the comments that were reacting to me saying like, I don't have my mom right now, I don't have my best friend, I don't have my boyfriend. And they were like, see, Oliver, all these people always walking out of your life and da 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 da. And people don't know that. And I'm here to say that those people walking out of my life, honestly, at that time, ushered me into the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. And so it's just a full circle moment to finally be able to talk about this and really give the
Yes. Because you
and
had to sit on that for a long time.
yeah, but I was dropping hints
Wow.
here and there, but of
Well,
course
I remember you going on a oh
hiatus.
shoot. Yeah, I remember you went on a social media break. But I mean, of course, I honestly didn't know. I thought, because you had been doing a lot with the America's Top Model, the T.S. Madison show. I knew you were doing social media for a lot of, Atlanta, people in the industry down in Atlanta. So I said you just kind of burnt out, and I remember you taking that break. But now it's all making sense now. It's all connected. Okay. Because as somebody who follows you on social media, I noticed when you weren't there. I just didn't know why. So okay, well that all makes sense because we linked up when Ebby and I came to Atlanta a couple of months while y'all were filming season 5. And so okay, yeah, all right, cool. So you were alone the entire so when you before you came into the apartments, were you alone or were you I know obviously you weren't with any of the other cast, but were you with like hanging out with production, like, or were you just kind of out and about by yourself, just doing
Oh no,
whatever?
we have a chaperone that lives with us.
Okay.
So I stayed in a very nice apartment in downtown Manchester, like on the 12th or 9th floor. Um,
Mm.
very nice. They took very great care of me, and I lived with the chaperone. Basically, was supervising me while I was in what they call hiding, until it was decided whether or not I would enter the show.
Oh, so even up until the point where you came in, it wasn't decided that you would
Oh,
come into the show.
so they
Oh
actually
wow.
fly out more people than they're going to cast. I was told. I heard somewhere else in another interview, someone said they fly out like 50 people. And what ends up happening is you film what becomes your player profile that they show that introduces you to the game. And the studio edits all of those and they send that over to the network. They send that over to the big bosses over there at Netflix. The Circle is like one of Netflix's precious jewels. Like that's their show
Hmm.
about what it looks like and they care about the people who are on it. So the production company does not make the final decision. They edit all those different packages up and they send it over to the big bosses at Netflix. And I'm talking about the big bosses at Netflix. And Netflix
Wow.
decides who they want and how they want it.
Wow. Okay, so that's even listen. So how did you feel? So you didn't I know you knew you weren't obviously the first in the house, but did you know what order? You were just sort of in hiding, so you didn't know what order you were entering the house or anything.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so what was your strategy then? Again, you said you watched season 1 and season 2 back to back, and somebody, because again, I was new to it, so somebody said to me, coming in, not being one of the first people, immediately put you at a deficit. But you being the last person certainly put you at a really big deficit. What was your strategy coming in?
I think with me coming in last, I never thought I would come in last. Now that I've watched the show, I understand why they did save me for last, which was honestly just to keep the show going. I think in the past, the last person was kind of like an afterthought. And no shade to anybody else who's been in that position, but the show has been going on for a while. The people connect to the people they've seen since day one. It
Right.
was a revolving door. And I think, especially with season 4 and 5, where Trevor came in last, who was the profile that the girl who won season 2, she posed as him. So with him coming in last, it brings a whole nother level of talk and conversation.
Right,
And
right.
I felt like they saved me for last because they wanted their show to keep going towards the end.
Right.
Um,
Because you have a very big personality.
yeah, thank you. And so I would say my strategy coming in last, honestly, wasn't even focused on winning the show. it was more so focused on how can I put my full being on full display to everyone? How can I be entertaining? How can I be inspiring? How can I be funny? How can I be emotional? How can I teach? How can I take advantage of every second of camera time they're going to give me that
Mm-hmm.
puts me into something, the next thing? I'll honestly say coming in last, I was like, okay, this ain't my game to win. This is probably not my game to win the $100,000. But if I work my time here the right way, I could win so many other things.
Well, you came close to being at the table. I don't know if you still would have won, but you came close. I was so mad for you. I was like, no. I was so mad. But I think for me, my best, and maybe because I know you personally, my best Oliver moment, well, my two best Oliver. First, you flirting with that was so Oliver. Like, it was like when he was like, I don't know, I think he's trying to play. I'm like, no, that's just Oliver. Like, I'm yelling at the TV and I'm like, no, that's just Oliver. But I think my best moment with you was when you had the private chat with, and forgive me for not remembering everybody's name, but when you had the private chat with the young lady from Las Vegas, the
To
one
me,
who was posing as her girlfriend.
mm-hmm.
Say her name again.
Her real name is Tasia, but she posed as
Hey.
Tamika.
Tamara, right. That conversation you and Tamara had, I thought was probably the best for me, one of the best moments of the season. I really liked the conversations with Raven being being vulnerable about her disability and how, and just seeing her strong personality. But I loved that conversation that you guys were able to really connect about your experiences with LGBT, being in the LGBTQ community, and that was just, I was here for it. I thought that was probably one of the better, my favorite moment. What it Tamara said that she felt like I'm talking as Tamara, like I'm still posing. I mean, I'm talking as myself, even though I'm still posing as Tamara. And she opened up and let herself be very vulnerable to you. I mean, how did you? I mean, I know you got emotional and everything, but in that moment, like, how did you feel in that moment?
Um, I would say I remember being like taken aback by it because I didn't think I was having that type of conversation on this
Mm-hmm.
platform. That issue is something that's really community specific, but the fact that, the producers and the powers that be found it important that me and her have that conversation, I remember just being kind of shocked that this sensitive topic was going to have light on an international platform. And I will say I appreciated it because it allowed me to show a different side of myself that I probably was showing at that time. I'm the fun guy, I'm the funny guy, I'm
Right, right.
easy, I'm all of this, but I appreciate that moment. And even the moment when I got the message home, um, for the people who've watched me on television for years, that's probably the first time y'all have seen me cry
Like
on
boo boo baby cry, yeah.
yeah, sobbing. I appreciate it because it honestly showed a different side of Oliver that people probably don't see all the time, and a side I probably don't lean into all the time. So I was grateful that the show allowed me to put that on display for the people to see.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. What was your best moment? Like, in your experience with, and I like the fact that the network kept it in. But what was your best moment?
My favorite moments, I'm stuck between two. My favorite moments were my player profile. I was very calculated when it came to how I looked at my player profile. I did my makeup, I styled myself. Um, and so I just really wanted to do a great job in my player profile because I knew this is what Netflix would see. This is what the audience would see if I was chosen to be a part of the cast. And so I really wanted to like really, really knock it out of the park and
Mm.
really have it be something that sticks in people's minds that, oh my God, this boy that looks like this had this moment. And I will honestly say the next favorite moment was honestly the chat with Chaz, because I will say that was probably like really the first moment that was like really me 100%. And I had fun doing it, and I knew that people who knew Oliver would be like you said, that's Oliver. Like Oliver's out here cutting up, doing his own thing.
Right.
And didn't know me would be hopefully entertained and or inspired that, these two queer men of color are engaging in this type of romantic situation on, again, an international platform, something that we oftentimes don't see. So I was proud of that moment for so many reasons. And also I was like, oh, I got a storyline now, because
Right.
television, you got to have a storyline. You got to have something about you that keeps you, interesting and plugged into the overall narrative. So I was like, oh, okay, they connected me to the strongest player in this game. I mean, it's either gonna go real good or go real bad, but either way, it's gonna be
right. Exactly. Yeah, and even with you and Chaz, and then also again Tamara, for you think about that, you had 3 queer people of color on that show that were able to talk about those issues. I thought again that, and again, not having watched the first 2 seasons, but for me, groundbreaking. For me, what was probably your least favorite part of this experience?
I would say if I had to choose a least favorite part, because overall the experience is honestly the best thing I've ever done in terms of my career, I would do the circle over and over and over and over and over and over. I would say probably my least favorite part was honestly switching from the mindset of a viewer hoping to be on the show to the mindset of someone who's actually filming a show.
Right.
That was a little interesting in terms of adjusting. And I would say the hot tub scene is my favorite because it was at that moment that I feel like I made the adjustment and realized, what it was. And I realized how I could potentially take advantage of the moment.
Okay. All right. Now this is gonna be a silly
filming the show, two completely different things. Like it's not even night and day. It's like May and December. Like it's just it's just different.
So this is a silly question, but when you said the hot tub, it made me think of something as I was watching the show. So did y'all have to sign up for a time to go to the roof? Because I noticed that different people were at the roof, and then other people weren't at the roof. Like, did y'all? I mean, they probably just didn't film it. Was it like the production say, okay, you guys can go get some vitamin D, go up to the rooftop? Did you guys sign up for that? I know that seems like a silly question, but I remember thinking like, how do they decide who gets to go? Because of course y'all can't run into each other, so how do they know who gets to go to the rooftop and enjoy the hot tub and get a little sun?
That's actually a great question. So I will say, outside of filming, there is downtime. And during your downtime, they will ask you, do you want to go up to the rooftop and just sit out there for 30 minutes? And
okay.
Production was always in and out of the room. So it wasn't like we were just in a jail cell and never saw anybody. Like producers were always in and out. Anytime we wanted to go somewhere or had to film another scene or wanted to go on a break, we would always have to be escorted. So we were talking to someone then. And then while we're filming the show, we're talking to a producer through the intercom. So like how people are watching, like, oh, these people are just talking out loud to themselves. No, we're actually responding to someone else who's talking to us. In terms of outside of the show, it's all about what's available at that time. I feel like they were spoiling me because anytime I said I wanted to go outside or I wanted to do this or can I go do this, it happened immediately. In terms of actually filming the show, I cannot speak to knowing specifically what their mechanism was for choosing who went and when they went. I can only assume it was just based off the scenes they needed. And they just schedule it out and be like, okay, well, we want Chaz and Oliver to, so let's, whatever. I don't know. I can only speculate. I do not know. But I would assume that there is some planning going into it.
Yeah, definitely a cat and mouse situation to making sure that all the players are moving but not moving to see each other. So I'm glad you said that because again, as somebody who was just watching it for the first time, it did seem like you guys were just kind of talking out loud to yourselves. And I was like, I'm sure production asked them to do that, but I didn't realize that it was that production was literally talking to you and you were responding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So so based on what you just said about people constantly being in contact, were there any type of systems in place for mental health checks to make
Oh
sure
yeah,
that,
yeah.
people didn't get too isolated or.
Oh yes, that's a great question. You're actually the first person who has asked me that question, and I actually want to give Studio Lamp and Netflix their flowers and the biggest praises ever for the high level of care they put towards us. At least me. I can't speak to nobody else. I can just speak about for me. The care that they put towards me being mentally safe, mentally healthy, my whole being, they supported me praying, they supported me asking for like meditation time and stuff like that. They really put a strong emphasis. There's a whole department of people dedicated, it's called the welfare team dedicated to our welfare. They called me after the show, they called me before the show came out, they checked up on me.
Oh
um
wow.
they were really really great, at least for me and in my standards and what I needed and what I expected and what, all that. They did a really great job.
That's good. That's good to know because I know again, when you were talking about, and I know, and again, I feel better knowing that you guys weren't totally isolated. But there's still a lot of alone time, and that's still a lot of it could. So I'm glad that that was in place. Now because I'm a little familiar. I saw you with your keyboard and your notebook. So did we write any hits while we? I know you released a single. You just recently released a single, but and you went a little different direction with the single too. I like the different, you stepping out and doing some different, even though I know you're classically trained and your background at Morehouse and everything, but we know you as a rapper. So it was really nice to see that little R&B going on there. Will we write any hits? Did we write some new
Oh,
songs and
shit.
stuff?
Okay. I actually did write two songs while I was over there in the circle. One of them, one of the verses. I actually don't even think he knows this. One of the verses landed on a song called "Flows and White Toes" by Dre Sean. That whole
Okay.
verse I actually wrote before. Actually, excuse me, I actually wrote that before I got to the circle one day when I was headed to the beach. Um, and I was freestyling to Let It Dash Like I Do, Let It Dash Like I Do. And I was just feeling lyrical that day. The other one I haven't put to anything yet. I did write music while I was in the circle, and it's funny you asked me that because I just remembered I was writing lyrics while I was there. But that particular verse, I do remember. That verse that Dre Sean now has on, it's called Flows and White Toes, and I'm featured on it on his last project. I wrote that while I was in the circle. And I think I was fleshing it out while I was actually in my room. I think so, yeah.
Okay, because I saw it and I said, okay, I see Oliver came ready. He had his keyboard and his notebook out. And one scene they showed you looked like you had like three different notebooks. I said, he is really working on some stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody in the chat said, how much time did you really have to make connections? Because it really did seem like your time went by so quickly.
Um, I would say I got the time that they wanted me to have, or the time that I could have, honestly.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's still a 2 years,
Um,
know.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to my next question. Having done, for those who do not know, having done a reality show for the last 3 or 4 years, or that's 3 or 4 seasons, I should say. Do you think that gave you an advantage? That you like understood certain things? Like, did it? You walked in the door kind of already, you know?
I would say it wasn't so much chasing Atlanta that gave me an advantage. It was more so my time filming the T.S. Madison experience. And
Okay.
I'm interviewing a bunch of contestants from Top Model that gave
Yes.
leg up that I needed because I
Right.
didn't the circle as because I want to put this in a way because I don't want anybody to think I sound ungrateful or I'm trying to shade the show. because I love the show. Like, I'm so grateful for the show. But I didn't see The Circle as something. Ooh, really, you girl, you got me. I'm trying to think, how can I put this? I saw The Circle as an opportunity, not necessarily to win $100,000, but I saw The Circle as an opportunity for me to position myself to make $1 million. Does that make sense? And so,
Absolutely, it does. And listen, and you're supposed to.
and so,
You really that you're supposed to. And I
and,
absolutely
and
go
so,
ahead. I'm
like,
sorry.
and so with me realizing, like, it's a show, guys, you know, and I tell everybody this all the time in all of my content. When it comes to reality TV, you just need to watch it for what it is and leave it there, you know, like, just leave it there, because it's a TV show. It's a TV show. And
Right.
I think once because I did I would say about a day and a half, I thought, okay, I need to play to win, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
You
I
need to leave an impression to be able to make that next step to
Yes,
whatever God has for you next.
but I would say once I started playing to win, you know, I would say, and just being honest, to win for the edit, to get included, you know, having funny moments, emotional moments, standout moments that they could put in the show so that people can see,
Right.
and hopefully this lands me a job or someone else sees it. My strategy changed completely. I was no longer worried about winning the show. I was more so worried about, how can I put Oliver in the best light, to where whether he wins this show or not, he can make $100,000 and another $100,000 and another $100,000 and another $100,000.
Absolutely. And honestly, I 100% understand, and I 100% am, full support of that. And I'm not going to say specific names, but I mean, unless you want to, but I don't want to say specific names, but your other clients have done people you've worked with have done a great job of taking reality TV and turning it and expanding their brand and being able to put their hand in so many other pots. And that really is what you're supposed to do. So, like you said, I'm not necessarily playing to win, but and I like the way you worded that. I'm not necessarily playing to win $100,000. I'm playing to win $1 million, taking this opportunity and rolling it into $1 million. And that's exactly what you were supposed to do. And I think you did. If I didn't know you already, you would have made an impression from the minute you walked in the house. Like I said, you have a very big personality. I think you're unforgettable. The moments, like I said, the moment you had from the crying to the flirting to I think you had your genuine connection with Raven. Like Sam. Like, there were some great personalities this season, because Sam is another big personality, because I knew her from TikTok. She's another big personality. But to be able to make those connections and give people something to walk away with and be like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. So I think that was perfect. Perfect. Well, what would the final rating? Why did anybody recognize you? Okay. Did anybody say after the fact? That's a good question. Did anybody say after the fact that they recognized you?
Yes. There were a lot of people. I'm not gonna say names, but there were a couple of people that were like, when we saw you, was like, is that really Oliver? And I would say in my chats, because they don't show everything, because they can't. They don't got the time to. I spoke in such a way that if you knew who Oliver was, you would know immediately this is him. Or if you did not know who I was, there's no way you can argue this voice behind this person, because it's so specific and very consistent. But yes, there were two people actually, and you can watch the edit to kind of see who those two people were, that when they saw me, they were like, we know him.
I think I might know one. I don't know about the second one. I think I might know one. So I want to say this. Thank you so much, Oliver. I reached out to you. You told me what I needed to do. You, as always, you got back to me, and you did it. I know that you're doing press all day today, and we had a block of time, so I want to be respectful of everybody else's time and yours. Huh?
Minutes, you good?
Oh, we have a few more minutes. Okay. I just didn't want to. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So Do you? Well, I think we already said that. I feel like you succeeded. I don't even need to ask that question. I feel like you succeeded. People in the chat are guessing now.
What did I can't see the chat.
One person said Raven. I think Sam and Raven. If I had to guess two names, I would say Sam and Raven. Because Sam is so big. She was so big on social media already that I feel like y'all would have crossed paths at some point in your for you page or something like that.
I'm sorry, really.
Maybe Chaz, because
Really?
maybe, huh?
I'm sorry, I do gotta go. I'm so sorry. I just looked at my calendar. I do
Okay,
gotta.
okay, cool. No, it's okay, babe. Last final words. What do you have coming up? Anything you want to tell us that you have coming up for us to be on the lookout for?
We're going on the Twixt trip to Mexico, Cancun, Mexico, from the 10th through the 14th.
I wish I could go. I wish I could have gone.
I thought you were coming.
No.
Oh, I thought you were coming.
My name is on the list. Look,
we're doing.
Look, my name is on the list.
Baby, I don't know. We're filming a bunch of stuff right now, so you'll see me back on TV this year. You'll see me in different mediums on television this year, which I'm really excited about. We're working on a lot of stuff right now. I'm going through a nice transition. The circle has definitely kind of moved me into the direction I kind of want to head in. And so, I'm going through a transitional phase in my life and in my career, and y'all may or may not see it. Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks again. I look forward to seeing everything you have coming. Well deserved. I know how hard you work. I know that you've been moving chess pieces for years now. So congratulations again, and thanks for coming through.
Of course, I love you so much.
I
Bye,
know,
y'all.
and I'll be reaching out next time down in Atlanta.
Please do.
You know I will.
Yeah.
All right, babe.
Hey, let's do this again so I can stay longer. We can talk about more stuff.
Absolutely, we will.
No, you always ask the good questions that that get me in trouble later, but it's all right, okay?
No. All right, you guys, that was Oliver. He's doing press all day today, so we only had that was a quick one. But like you said, he'll be back. Thank you guys for being here. Listen, I'm busy today too, but I tell you what I am going to do. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about Robin. That's what we're going to do. So the notification probably will not go out. I'm out of notifications, but y'all make sure that y'all meet me back here in about 30 minutes. Okay? All right. I'll be starting nothing.